Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley if you're new here. I do all kinds of videos on my channel, so everything from fashion to lifestyle to living in Japan. I'm even starting to dabble a little bit in mental health, so if you're interested in videos like that, leave a comment down below and let me know. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about mental health and focusing on hustle culture. So I'm interested to know what kind of impact hustle culture has had on your life. Has it been positive, negative? Have you made adjustments throughout your life? I want to know, so leave a comment down below. Most of my life, I have hard subscribed to hustle culture, and it has been a defining factor in my life. Now, let me first say that what I mean by this is not the single mom who works 3 jobs to provide for her family. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about glorifying working yourself to the bone when it's not necessary. More specifically, I'm referring to the more you work, the more you're valued, and that can be to the detriment of your health. So from grade school up until college, I really dealt with this, and it took the form of needing to make the best grade possible while also being as involved in extracurricular activities as I possibly could. Like, I needed to be involved in everything. I needed to have perfect grades, and I was a very stressed out child. After college, this manifested itself into not getting 1 job, but getting 2 jobs so that I could set myself up for financial success. And I was working as a teaching assistant during the daytime, and then I was waiting tables at night. So from 7 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night, I was working, like Monday through Friday. And I also worked in the restaurant on Saturdays, so really my only day off during that time was Sundays, and I was exhausted. But even that wasn't good enough, so shortly after that I applied for grad school, and I had this idea that I was going to get a master's degree, then I was going to get a PhD, and I wanted to be a history professor. So I did the thing, I got into school, had it paid for, so I had nothing financially to worry about. But while having all this coursework, I also decided that I needed a part-time job, so I was doing an incredible workload while working a part-time job, and it was just not great. But I do want to talk about just the atmosphere of graduate school and what that was like as well, because that also contributes heavily to hustle culture. And this is just my experience. I don't know what other grad programs are like, but mine was, I'm gonna just go ahead and say, a little bit toxic. For example, we had 3 seminars per week, which usually required to read 1 book per week. And then we would go in for 3 hours for each class on certain days of the week and talk about these books that we were reading. And oftentimes there would be written assignments that would go along with this. So I had a few classes that required a book report for every book we read. So you're reading 3 books a week, writing a couple 2-page papers a week, and then once midterms and the end of the semester came around, you were also working on these bigger projects. And not only that, but we were also, most of us were TAs, so we were managing lecture classes and grading papers and taking attendance notes, answering emails. Like, the workload never ended. It easily could take over your life, and it did. My first semester, it took over my entire life. And I guess during my second semester, I really put the brakes on it, and I was like, no more. Like, I set some hard boundaries. I made sure that I enjoyed my weekends. I tried not to work at all on the weekends, which was kind of crazy, and I felt like a lot of people judged me for that. Like, my classmates would ask me, what did you do this weekend? And I would say a lot of things, and none of them were read a book or wrote a paper, and I think that they were very surprised, and they were kind of judging me for that, but I had to do something. And then not only was the workload essentially impossible to achieve, but also there was this idea that anything less than an A was not acceptable, which was perpetuated by the professors and by the students. They all ascribed to this idea. And then anything less than a B could result in you losing your fellowship. So there was a lot of pressure for working yourself to the bone as well as being perfect at everything you did. And not only was there this really like intense pressure that you put on yourself and others put on you, but also having all of this work was kind of glorified. Like if someone was venting about having a lot of things to do, someone else would step up and say, well, at least you don't have to do this, 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 and this, and that would be what they were doing. And so it was always like a kind of one-upping situation on who had the most work to do. Also, staying in the office all day was totally glorified. You were seen as dedicated if you were there. All-nighters seems like a bragging right, kind of, sorta. I never pulled an all-nighter, but other people did. The whole thing was just very unhealthy, and many people didn't have boundaries. And really, graduate school is when I started to really consider this hustle culture and a work-life balance. This is where my ideas about it started to take shape. So I've been out of graduate school for a year now. I finished my master's degree and I said no more. I did not go on to pursue a PhD, and I probably will not pursue a PhD in my life. I'm not about to sacrifice myself for a degree. And really, like, the turning point was that graduate school pushed me to my limits. I had never been pushed that far before, to giving up myself and my balance. And I just realized like how bad that was for my mental health. And after like many stressed out days and many days of feeling like I wasn't good enough, or like no matter how hard I worked, I couldn't achieve what I thought was necessary, I finally asked myself, what is the point? And then I realized that there isn't one. Like, the things that we were trying to learn and achieve, there was no reason for the workload or the stress to be that high. And it was really being fueled by professors and students who were getting their value from how much they could work. Hustle culture, whether it's in a graduate program, a corporate job, or someone who's working 2 to 3 jobs just because, like, this idea is a social construct that like people have started to validate themselves with. And the problem is this desire to work harder and harder can never be satisfied, because at some point you're not going to be able to keep up. It's going to demand more and more of you, and it's eventually going to be to the detriment of your mental health, your physical health, or your spiritual health. There is always give and take in life, and if you don't set boundaries, those things will suffer. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've got it figured all out, because I definitely don't. I spent my entire life being influenced by hustle culture, and it's part of my personality. But and I struggle with it every day. So you're not going to be one way your whole life and wake up and be another way. It's just not how it works. But for example, I constantly think that my job is not good enough. I think that sometimes it doesn't pay enough money, or I don't work enough hours. And if every minute of my day is not filled with something, I get a little bit like anxious, like what am I supposed to be doing with my life? And so it's a struggle, but to me it's worth it, because I want that balance. I want to be mentally healthy, I want to be physically healthy, spiritually healthy. I want to invest time in my relationships, and I want to live a better life than the one I was living last year, or even the many years before that. So I hope this leaves you inspired to look at your life with a critical eye. So how is your work-life balance? Are you a part of hustle culture? Is something in your life suffering because of this? So if you want to share, leave it down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time.